Look at business with Mike Eppel from CityNews 680. Mike, good morning. What was more frustrating over the weekend, the traffic in Toronto or the Leafs? What was it?
The traffic in Toronto, but yeah, the Leafs from the emotional standpoint up here, or actually down here, I guess, considering how that season ended, and then the Oilers last night bowing out again. And but you know what? We went to the Jays game yesterday for Mother's Day, and that was actually a really fantastic experience. What a conclusion to that game. So that was great. Shout out to all the BT viewers who were kind enough to say hello.
Nice.
We attended that game yesterday.
Mike Eppel needs security when he goes out and about town. I don't know if people know that, but it's true.
They all mentioned my toy tractor collections. It had nothing to do with me.
They think your tractor's sexy. All right, Mike. Busy week ahead. I mean, more U.S. debt ceiling talks and some interesting quarterly earnings reports coming out.
Yeah, they're supposedly going to resume the negotiations in the White House tomorrow for U.S. President Joe Biden and House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy. We'll see if they get a deal done. The end of the month is fast approaching, and these two sides have been at loggerheads to do what they have to do, raise that borrowing limit on the U.S. credit card, but they're trying to, finagle a deal on other things. So this could be a problem. We'll see. The markets have not been handling this all that well, actually, Sid. The Dow Jones has been down 9 of the past 10 trading days. We've got a number of earnings updates due this week from the retail sector. Those are going to be very interesting to see what consumer spending is doing in a high inflation, high interest rate economy. So we'll hear from Home Depot tomorrow, Walmart on Wednesday, Target stores out of the U.S. We'll kind of run the gamut on that. And then, to top it off tomorrow, the Canadian inflation report for the month of April will be in from Stats Canada, and we'll see if that continues to see a cool down of price pressures to 4.2% on the headline, still above the Bank of Canada's target. The big concern here for economists and anybody worried about inflation is whether it becomes entrenched, whether we become used to the fact that prices have gone up. Wage inflation is certainly a thing, too. So those are a couple of things we'll be watching in that report.
Any relief expected at the grocery stores?
Have you seen it?
Nope, I haven't.
Have you? No, I don't think so. I haven't seen prices come down. In fact, certain things I go in and go, that's how much?
Yep. All right. I just threw it out there. I know people are thinking it, but it's
Gas prices have come down. That is one thing that we will be watching. Diesel prices are now below regular unleaded. A year ago, that was certainly not the case.
Wow. All right, moving on here. Just in time for the summer travel season, WestJet's got a problem. What's the latest there?
Well, the pilots could be on strike. They're in a legal strike position, I think, starting tomorrow, but they have not yet given the 72-hour strike notice to the company, which indicates that negotiations are continuing. So that's the good signal that we saw over the weekend as WestJet negotiates with its parent company, Onyx Corporation. And yeah, after all that, a pilot strike next, really? And we got the long weekend coming up, right? So, I mean, they got to get a deal done because the bargaining chips are on the table.
Yeah, leverage is a real thing. And I think the pilots have it, no doubt about it. Finally, Mike, I remember a day in media circles in this country vividly when you said the phrase vice media, and people would salivate at what potentially this could mean for journalism and for news, not just in Canada, but really around North America and around the world. It didn't quite work out, did it?
You know, the Vice was actually started here in Canada a number of years ago as a magazine. Then it spread to the digital media world. And at one point it had a valuation. It was worth $5.2 billion back in 2015, 2016, when the likes of Disney was putting in $300 million. Here, have some money, because this is going to be the future. It had some managerial issues, and digital media this year has struggled mightily just overall. We've heard from Vox Media, they cut jobs. BuzzFeed News shut down. MTV News shut down. Paramount just last week announced layoffs of a big part of its media sector. So we've seen, this is the thing. When you see anything new, you have money flowing into it, thinking it's the next big thing. But at the end of the day, it kind of, the pendulum theory takes effect, and things kind of come back to equilibrium, and things that were hot once are no longer. They're going to be bought out, I think, for $225 million by their creditors, Fortress Investments. But again, $5.2 billion was the peak for Vice.
It's a shame. It was a really good idea, and they did some really good stuff, especially initially. Unfortunately, it hit the end of the road. It's too bad.
Won a Pulitzer Prize in 2020, if memory serves.
Yep. People listen. They were doing amazing stuff, but they reached the end of the road. All right, Mike, we have reached the end of the road today. See you tomorrow.